Welcome to Canadian Justice. I'm Christine Van Gyn, and today we're talking about the story of stateless children. Emma Kenyon was born in Tokyo to Canadian parents in 1985. At 6 months old, she and her family moved back to Toronto, where she grew up, attended university, and married her husband, Dan, who was also born outside of Canada. In 2016, Emma and Dan moved to Hong Kong temporarily, where they decided to start a family. They got pregnant in April 2021, but under Canadian law, their child would not receive Canadian citizenship. Citizenship is not passed to the second generation born overseas. But under Hong Kong law, the child would not have Hong Kong or Chinese citizenship. The child would be born stateless. I pre-recorded my conversation with Emma, who is still in Hong Kong. Hi, Emma. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Hong Kong. So I understand you've now had your baby, and congratulations. I just wanted to ask how you are doing and if there have been any developments in your case.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. We're doing really well. The baby is now 4 months old. He's growing fast, so we're really happy. In terms of the case, it's progressing. We're hoping to get in front of a judge soon. To be honest, we had hoped that the government wouldn't take up this case. We'd hoped that they would just amend the legislation, but they haven't done that. And so, we're ready to fight and take it to the Supreme Court if we have to.
So your baby was, as you were concerned, your baby was born stateless. And I was wondering if you could explain for our viewers what the consequences of that are. What does it mean for your child's life?
Yeah, I mean, it means that he doesn't have access to Canadian citizenship and the basic kind of rights and protections that entails. He doesn't have access to a passport, so he can't travel, into Canada. He can't travel freely. And really worrying for us is he doesn't have access to consular services, which has been a concern, during COVID in Hong Kong.
But he doesn't have that, not just for Canada, but for any state. So he's not able to have all kinds of services that your country should be able to assist you with. But I do understand that he is going to be issued a special travel document from Hong Kong. Can you explain that?
Yeah, we're quite lucky in that Hong Kong, I sort of discovered this actually through Facebook, has a document that it gives to people who can't have access to passports from their home countries, or for people who are stateless. So it's a travel document that he can use to apply for visas from certain countries that accept it, and it's tied to my employment visa. So it's a kind of time-limited travel document.
Well, it's fortunate that there is something, but clearly there's something broken in the system here. And you wrote to the Canadian government about it, asking for their help. What was their reaction when you wrote to them?
Yeah, I wrote to the consulate, I wrote to MPs, I wrote to the minister's office. They were really dismissive. Kind of uninterested. They were, sort of lacking in compassion and empathy. And they basically said to me, your baby will be stateless. If you don't want your baby to be stateless, go back to Canada and have the baby there. Those are your options.
And it's not super compassionate messaging coming from the government. Is the issue that the minister would not, there's no way for them to grant an exception for your child because of the way the law is structured? Or does the minister have some discretion and just isn't exercising it here to help you and your child?
So the way the law is written, there is no kind of exemption. Unlike in the US or the UK, where you can prove that you have a substantial connection to that country and then confer your citizenship, Canada doesn't have that in place. So the way the law is written, there's no exemption. The minister does have some discretion to grant citizenship on an exceptional basis. But when I emailed the minister's office asking about this and asking about the process, they didn't respond to my emails. They sort of stopped interacting with me.
I mean, that's bizarre. You would think that if there's some exceptional circumstances, this would certainly rise to them. I mean, you have quite a substantial connection to Canada. It's where you spent most of your life. It's where your husband spent most of his life. You have plans to return to Canada. So I just don't understand the way the government has treated you here.